want to be called in to testify about some large matter or what have you. And this is what forced the Clintons to add him to the death list or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I remember something like that too. It's been a while since I studied those Clinton crimes. Every now and then I try to go back and refresh my memory because, the more we learn, the more we realize that, just how bad these guys really were. The Jeffrey Epstein case has brought back a lot of this. Back in the 90s, if you talked about the Clinton crime family and you talked about Bill Clinton raping all kinds of women, I mean, the list of the women that he raped is, you can't even keep track of them. And of course, Trump brought some of those women to the debates in 2016 with Hillary, which I thought was pretty audacious. And that's the sort of thing that endeared Trump to some of my friends, who then became Trump Kool-Aid drinkers. But yeah, Jeffrey Epstein's case has really made this so obvious. It used to be if you said, look, our whole elite is blackmailed, and people would say, wow, you're a crazy conspiracy theorist. You say, no, I mean, look at these mainstream history books talking about Meyer Lansky having pictures of J. Edgar Hoover with Clyde Tolson and Hoover having pictures of everybody else. I mean, this is mainstream history. And people would just their eyes would glaze over and they put their fingers in their ears and pretend they couldn't hear you. Well, now Jeffrey Epstein comes along, and Jeffrey Epstein is just blatantly peddling these underage girls to everybody in sight for decades. And I was talking about this 15 years ago. He was so shameless. He had what, in Yiddish, they have this word chutzpah. It's defined as the quality of the guy he's just been convicted of murdering his parents, and he throws himself at the mercy of the judge on the grounds that he's an orphan. Well, that takes chutzpah, right? So Jeffrey Epstein, he had chutzpah, and he just did this stuff right out in the open. And Bill Clinton just got on the Lolita Express Airlines and flew around with these little underage girls all over the place to Epstein's Island repeatedly, and none of them seemed to ever worry about being exposed. I think that these people, they think they're untouchable, and unfortunately, most of the time they're right. Anyway, when Epstein didn't kill himself, the whole world saw that Epstein didn't kill himself, and the whole world saw that Epstein had blackmail material on Trump and on Clinton and on all kinds of other powerful people. And this was just a tip of the iceberg of the fact that the whole power elite is basically sexually blackmailed. And these days, to be sexually blackmailed, you have to do really bad stuff. In the old days, just having sex with somebody who wasn't your wife was bad enough. But now, they have to get these people on tape with underage people or worse. So now people kind of get this. And so we have this, the Pizzagate conspiracy theory, which is probably partly true, although I wouldn't necessarily blame, some of the people they named it may not be guilty. We don't know. But where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's definitely some fire there with Pizzagate. Then there's the QAnon people, and a bunch of that stuff is completely insane, but there's an element of truth to that as well. And now more and more people understand this because they understand this history of the sexually blackmailed elite in America. So now looking back at the Clinton years, we say, oh, here was this serial rapist in the White House. He was being presented as a nice liberal feminist. And this is just such an example of the gross hypocrisy of the Democratic Party. And so why should we believe anything these Democrats tell us now when they're still covering up for the Clinton crime family, for a serial rapist ex-president and CIA drug dealer ex-president whose wife was complicit in so many of his crimes? Why should we believe their garbage about Joe Biden and billionaire appointed sleazebag himself? We've all seen the pictures of Joe Biden nuzzling little girls' hair and things like that. I'm sure Epstein had some much worse ones. This whole elite in this country is not worthy of our confidence. And so they're desperate, and they're circling the wagons, and they're saying anybody who questions anything is a conspiracy theorist, and they have to be censored and shut down. And that just shows how desperate they are.